Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. Um, I apologize for our tardiness. We had some technical difficulties, but guess what? That's not going to stop us, right? So, again, tonight, I want to come to you to talk to you about the new book out, which is Ripple Effect Rules of the Road. And I just want to say that I had a conversation with a friend of mine who shared with me that they had a loved one that lost their child due to drag racing. And without going into their story, because it's not my story to share, but the family is still grieving. So much so until that the room that their loved one occupied is still set up, and their tragedy happened years ago, and they're still grieving. So the question now becomes, how do you forgive after this happens, and after how do you move on? And forgiveness is a big part of that. Forgiveness is not for the person; it's for you, right? So I'm going to open up with prayer. We have to do this because the topic that we're talking about is affecting lives. It's affecting a lot of people's lives. So, Father, in your holy Son, Yeshua HaMashiach's name, we come before you today, bowed head, humble hearts, asking for forgiveness for things that we said, we thought, and that we've done that did not represent who you are as our King, our Lord, and our ruler. Yahweh, I pray today for those family members that have lost loved ones. Um, any of them that have lost loved ones from the topics of this book, whether it was from drag racing, drugs, drinking, texting while driving, God. Those family members that are still mourning for their loved ones, that are still hurt. Yahweh, those that are stuck, just stuck right there in that moment and just cannot move past the grief. I ask that you right now meet them where they are, God. Yahweh, meet them in this moment. Heal them, deliver them, make them free. Comfort them in this moment. We know you to be a comforter, Yahweh. Comfort them in this moment and let them know that you have them. Yahweh, I ask that you open up their heart, that they're able to forgive, because forgiveness is a part of healing and moving on. Help them to forgive. They may not forget their loved ones, but help them to forgive the tragedy that happened and what transpired. Help them to forgive the person that caused the accident or that caused the demise of their loved ones, God. Give them your shalom, your peace that passes all understanding. And as we go into discussion and as I read the book tonight, Father, another excerpt from this book, I ask that you allow these words to resonate to someone that is actually doing any of these things that are in this book. Prick their heart and let them know, we drive to arrive alive. Texting can wait. Drag racing is a no-no. God, road rage, Father, teach them to just be patient. You know what? And as I read, I ask that you remove Sabrina, Father. Ruach HaKodesh, I ask that you speak in this moment. Remove me out of this. Let them not see me, but hear you and what you have to say. I thank you now and I praise you now for what you're doing. And I thank you for the healing and the help that you're sending right now. Ministering angels, you're on assignment for those families that are grieving. Minister to them right now. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Thank you. Okay, so, I read an excerpt from Justin Trouble, and Justin was drag racing. And that's when I got into the conversation about what happened to a loved one. They shared with me a loved one had been in an accident because of drag racing. So today's story is about Daily Distracted. Her name is Daily Distracted. And guess what? Daily texts while driving, right? She's texting, which we know again is a no-no, right? Of course. It's a big no-no. So let's go in and delve in. And again, for those that did not hear the broadcast last week, the question is what happens when you're doing irresponsible things behind the wheel of a vehicle and the person that you hurt is someone that you love? Right. So this is basically what this book is about. And so this week we're going to read the excerpts from Daily and what happened to her. So let's get started. Okay. This is Ripple Effect. Again, the name of it is Ripple Effect. Rules of the Road. And I forgot to tell you where to get it from, right? What kind of nonsense is this? So you get the I'm gonna tell you about the book, I won't tell you where to get it from, right? So you can get a copy of this book from Amazon, and it is on Amazon. So when you go to Amazon, type in Sabrina Kirkland and then Ripple Effect Rules of the Road. And I will also make sure that I put a link to the book in here as well in this feed, okay? So let's begin. So let me give you a little backstory about Daily. She's 19 years old. She has a tattoo on her left wrist, and that says, "Shopping is my therapy." Her hobbies are shopping and blogging. So Daily is a social media influencer with thousands of followers and loves to shop with her friends. She blogs her daily life's activities and shopping excursions. So here we go. Y'all ready? Okay. Daily quickly set up straightening the wheel. The traffic light turned yellow and Daily slowed, stopped when the light turned red. She reached for her phone again and a bright light flashed before her eyes. Daily blinked rapidly to clear the spots before her eyes. After her vision cleared, she reached over to pick up her phone. Daily didn't realize that her foot had lifted off the brake pedal and she was slowly rolling forward. The sound of car horns caused Daily to sit up. A car was heading straight for her. There was a loud crash. Daily's car spun across the highway and landed into a ditch. Daily groaned and tried to move. Oh, y'all, this is getting good. Okay. So we're going to fast forward. Now we are in the hospital. So I'm skipping through. I want you all to buy this book so that you can see actually what happens, right? So I'm skipping through. I just want y'all to know this, right? Dan, I want a second opinion, Meredith cried. Honey, Dr. Healer is one of the top ophthalmologists in the country. No, Dan. We need another. Oh God, what's happening to our family? She cried. Please follow me, the doctor said. Daily could hear her mother crying outside the hospital door. I'm blind? No, this can't be happening. How? She yelled in her head. Tears burned as she cried, and Daily put her hands up to her face. She could feel bandages covering her eyes, but only saw darkness. Was this the extent of her life now? To live in darkness for the rest of her life? Despair gripped Daily like a cloak and wrapped itself around her. Although it hurt to cry, she continued. The silent cry turned into sobs, and sobs turned into moans, and moans turned into wails. Daily screamed and started tearing at her bandages. She could feel hands pulling hers from her face. No, she yelled, pulling her hands free. Let me go. I can't see. Get this mess off my face, she cried a moment later. Daily felt herself getting sleepy and her body went limp and she fell back. The doctors and nurses escorted Mr. and Mrs. Distracted out of Daily's room so they could replace her bandages. Dan, how can we tell her that the person she hit was her sister-in-law? Everyone said Daily ran the light. Then she killed Amy and her unborn child, our grandchild. Meredith cried, looking up at her husband. Sadness and anguish were in her eyes. I told her about texting and driving. How could she be so irresponsible? Meredith retorted, slamming her fist in her hand. David, it is a wreck. It's been weeks and he's still not answering his phone. I went by there yesterday. The mail was piled in the mailbox. Poor Jordan was so dehydrated and hungry, he was too weak to bark. What are we going to do? She said, hugging her husband tightly. That's not the end of this tantalizing story. There's more to Daily Distracted, right? Yeah. So, again, as we discussed, what would happen if the person that you hurt was a loved one, was someone that you were close to or a friend? So, in Daily's story, it looks like her sister in law was affected, right? So, it not just it didn't just affect her, it affected her entire family, right? So again, the name of this book is Ripple Effect: Rules of the Road. You know what? After speaking with my friend, I started thinking, um, and there's two things that I was thinking about, and you all could please leave it in the comments of what you think. One, I would like to start a book club, right? So we can discuss this book. And of course, there are other books coming because I do have other books. But to discuss Ripple, and I want to be able to have a platform where there are families that have been affected and also those that have done these things and could have faced something similar to or almost close, or you got in an accident and no one got hurt because you did this, right? But I want us to have those conversations. Our goal now is to see how we can prevent more accidents, how we can prevent um, our loved ones becoming casualties of our irresponsible woes, right? Um, Also, I would like to go into the schools. So if you are in school or if you are an administrator and you would like for me to come to your school to talk about Ripple, and let's open up and have these dialogues and talk to our youth, I am open for it. You're more than welcome to please reach out to me at info at mynameisme.com. That is info at mynameisme.com. Okay. And you can reach out to me. My name is Sabrina Kirkland. So we can start having these conversations as it relates to, uh, you know, distracted driving, as it relates to the ripple effect that distracted driving could have. Okay. So again, thank you. My name is Sabrina Kirkland, and thank you so much for spending time with me as we read another excerpt from Ripple. And join us next week, and we will read another story, excerpt from another story of Ripple Effect: Rules of the Road. Again, thank you so much. Oh, and also we do have merchandise. Like I said before, I was looking for my shirt so I can show you all the shirt. I think I gave my shirt away, right? But here is a copy of the blanket. Well, it's not a copy actually; it's the actual blanket, right? So, and again, I wrote these so that we could. Oh, it's upside down. I need to do better, right? So, so I made this blanket so that when you look at it, you will think about before you get on the road, uh, and the things that you do, before you get on the road, right? So the blanket, I will make sure that I have the code for the blanket on here as well. We have shoes, we have shirts, and there's some other stuff in there again, and it's all the for Ripple. And I did this because I want us to be reminded before we get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Okay. Again, thank you so much. And I want to encourage you all to drive safe, but most of all, take your time and drive to arrive alive. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again next week with another chapter of Ripple Effect, Rules of the Road. Good night.